Todd is without a doubt your daughter Walesia's biological father. You say the only reason he denies her is because his fiance, Miss Collins, doesn't want him in your life.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so here's the situation. We've got what might be a side chick trying to fight for her place in an already established relationship. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one to pull off. But wait, there's more. There's also a possible child involved, and the man in question might be the father. Now throw money into the mix. Yep, both parties are expecting some kind of compensation for very specific reasons.
I have a babysitter, and I couldn't keep up with the babysitting fees, so I had to quit my job, and I don't have a job anymore. And here's my papers right here.
Let's get straight to it. Both of them came into this courtroom ready for war. No holding back. They're spitting fire at each other from the jump. Now, getting over $2,000 out of Mr. Todd? Yeah, that's not gonna be easy. Certainly Miss Chappelle knows, but here's where it gets messy. Someone's clearly not telling the truth. It's not gonna sit well when the lies start to unravel.
Saying it was an understanding that you all had sex, unprotected sex, but that you also were having sex with other people.
It wasn't no 4 years.
It's kind of wild how the fallout from an undefined relationship has brought them here. To be fair, it's a good thing he owned up to his ignorance, but now he's got to face the consequences. He saw an opportunity to mess with someone who was probably living her best life, and now look where that landed him. Honestly, the courtroom is pure chaos right now.
My wonders on my car. She ran. I have
she came to
a
where
receipt.
she was. That's
how she get where I'm at.
And I have proof, and I have a
side
post
of
report
town,
that
come
she
where
bust
I'm
my
at.
wonders out on
Do
my
you
car.
have that evidence here today?
I do, ma'am.
There's even more back and forth in the courtroom, and things are getting tense. There's really no excuse for being intentionally destructive, no matter how heated things get. Ms. Chappelle keeps denying the allegations, but here's the kicker. There's a receipt that says otherwise. At this point, if nobody's willing to take responsibility for their actions, we're heading straight for a dead end.
The bottom line is you do admit you bust the windows
Yes,
out.
ma'am, I did because that was self-defense.
All right, so self-defense.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
What she do?
She's mad that we're together. That's
Oh no, not this. You clearly said Miss Collins was lying about you smashing her car window, but now, with receipts laying out the full truth, suddenly you're admitting it? Real convenient. And now, it was self-defense? Interesting. Let's not get sidetracked. This case isn't about broken windows. There's a little girl who deserves to know who her real father is. That's what really matters here.
When we was together, I told him that I was pregnant, and he was like, oh, this your third child, whatever. Well, he was like, our child would be the prettiest child, whatever. And I was like, okay, it's cool. We're gonna have our baby, and we came to agreement that he would be there for her.
Telling her this third child would be the prettiest of the bunch, maybe he meant it, maybe he didn't, but one thing's for sure, sweet words don't prove paternity. And yes, Miss Chappelle, you say you weren't involved with any other men during the window of conception, but let's be real, no one can confirm that for sure. At the end of the day, like always, the truth of this case comes down to one thing, the DNA results.
She started having a relationship with him while she was carrying someone else's baby. After she delivered that other baby, then she ended up pregnant by him, which is Walesia, who looked just like him. He is my grandbaby father, and he know this.
As expected, Miss Matthews, the mother, has stepped in to defend her daughter, and she's not holding back. According to her, Mr. Todd was already having an affair with her daughter while she was pregnant with her second child. And not only that, the affair continued right through to the birth of this current child. But when emotions, accusations, and past relationships all collide like this, there's only one thing that can cut through the noise: the DNA results.
When it comes to 3-year-old Walesia Chappelle, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Todd, you are not the father.
Mr. Todd admitted to sleeping with multiple women during the same period and without protection. That's basically an open invitation for confusion, drama, and manipulation. And that's exactly what happened. Ms. Chappelle took that chaos and used it to her advantage. But now, the DNA results are in, and the truth is loud and clear. Mr. Todd is not the father. Ms. Chappelle's entire narrative has just crumbled.
Seats that total $375. Ms. Chappelle stood in court today and admitted she bust the windows out the car. And so that's a very easy determination. You do owe her for the $375 that it took to repair her car. Girlfriends say there's no chance whatsoever that you fathered the defendant's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. You say your evidence will shock this courtroom. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now let's talk about what kind of evidence could truly shock the courtroom, especially if it proves Mr. Webb is not the father of this child. Because let's be honest, it's totally normal to want to protect what's yours. Anyone would fight tooth and nail for a relationship that's lasted 3 years. Biologically speaking, you can't get someone pregnant if you never had sex with them. Simple as that.
Walked in the bathroom, she said cheese and took a picture before I could even say anything. I didn't even want to take that picture. That's how crazy she is. She posted it on Facebook, and when I told her to take it down, she refused to because she's crazy.
Wow, at this point, it's getting really hard to believe anyone in this courtroom. Like seriously, if you had sex with each other, just own up to it. And if you didn't, don't try to pin a child on someone who had nothing to do with it. Now, out of nowhere, Miss Cole's mother is blowing hot. But hold on, was she even involved in any of this? Or is she just doing what most mothers would do, showing up to back her daughter no matter what?
I got on Google because
looks
I
a
don't
lot
know
like
much about
him.
baby
Yeah,
stuff, so
yeah.
I'm thinking, is that a thing now? So I said, Tasha, you're crazy. We didn't blink. I'm not father to your baby. Please leave me alone. And that was that. I just didn't want to deal with her anymore. I still don't.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, at this point, Miss Tasha Cole might really be taking things a bit too far. Gambling with your baby's paternity? That's not just risky, it's downright illogical. She thinks they had sex the night he slept in her bed, but thinking isn't the same as knowing. And in court, it's not about vibes, it's about facts. And let's not even get started on the part where she says the baby in the womb looked like him. Really? And completely unrealistic.
which would make him the dad. It went from February 22nd to January 28th.
You submitted a calendar.
Wait a minute, did she come to court with confusion? First, she's 100% sure Mr. Webb is the father, says the baby even looks like him. Now she's admitting there's another man, and the due date is why she picked Mr. Webb. Come on, we need some fresh air in this courtroom. Fast. Let's hope the DNA test clears this up, because these claims are getting things heated up real fast.
Yeah, tell him about his penis. All we're here to
Especially 'cause she's never
do
seen
is
it
to
in her
find
life,
out
period.
if he's the father. I was without my father for 39 years. I want to know that my grandchild has a father. It's pretty bad.
It ain't me.
Not
This is just too hilarious. Didn't Judge Lake specifically say to keep it clean when describing evidence? Miss Cole is clearly having way too much fun with this. It's like she's forgetting how serious this really is. She has a daughter who doesn't even know her father. Her own mother didn't grow up with a dad, and now she's trying to prevent that for her granddaughter. But honestly, it's starting to feel like Miss Cole doesn't even mind.
It's not my baby, so just stop, man. This is from you. I hope you find whoever it is. Bye. You write to her again. And then she writes to you, it's you or a white dude.
Mr. Webb wasn't joking when he said he came with receipts. He's fully loaded with evidence to prove he's not the father. And now, Miss Cole just admitted there's another man who could be the dad. So yeah, she's not even sure herself. Looks like she's fallen into a pit, one she unknowingly dug for herself. But despite everything, only one thing can settle this: the DNA results.
No,
Helder
no.
and the other gentleman has not either.
He's incarcerated.
Okay. Mr. Webb, if you are this child's biological father, are you willing to be a father?
Let's be real, it's hard to take responsibility for something that was never yours. Mr. Webb is standing firm. He says he never slept with Miss Cole, but she swears otherwise. And now, she's just said neither man is good for her or her child? Wow. At this point, it's not about opinions anymore. It's about facts. The DNA results will decide who walks out of here with the last laugh.
Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Haha, what a show. Looks like Miss Cole won't be getting that last laugh after all. Why put Mr. Webb through all that mental stress? Just because of her own uncertainty. She did this to herself. And now that the DNA says he's not the father, she and her mom are suddenly on a quest to find out who really is. Hopefully, they figure it out for the child's sake.
In your testimony that you were intimate with Mr. Webb.
Yes.
And this other guy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you mentioned this pregnancy to the other guy?
I told both of them after the same day I took the pregnancy test.
Harrington, you claim during a torrid older-younger love affair, the defendant fathered your 5-month-old daughter, Keora.
Now, this case sounded wild right from the start. A young lady and an older man caught up in a messy entanglement. It doesn't even feel like the kind of affair a courtroom should be handling, but here we are. Clearly someone's not being honest, and that's what sparked this whole feud. And like always, only a DNA test can bring out the truth. One thing's for sure, Mr. Kim is not about to let this 18-year-old take him for a cheap ride.
He wanted to have a baby by me, and that was that. And we kept trying and trying and trying.
And now that the baby's here, he denies the baby.
Yes, because I'm in another relationship.
This case is anything but easy to judge. Just listening to both sides makes that clear. Ms. Currington is clearly frustrated with how Mr. Kim has handled the whole situation. And on the flip side, Mr. Kim, as a much older, more mature man, feels completely betrayed. The trust, the hope, maybe even love he placed in this young woman, all of it shattered, right in his face.
You was on birth control.
Oh.
Yes. So.
And so you had your hand up, Miss Larson.
Yes.
You are his daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And so what is your understanding of this?
Miss Currington might just be playing the game. Mr. Kim was upfront. He doesn't believe in condoms, and she claimed she was on birth control, but judging by the look on her face after that came out, she's giving off guilty. Still, guilty or not, the child could be his. That's the twist. But Mr. Kim's daughter isn't buying it. She's here, standing firm by her dad, and she's convinced Miss Currington isn't as innocent as she claims.
Yourself a nice little sugar daddy, little older man that was gonna do for you and your son.
I decided to follow along, see how far she go with this.
From an arrangement to this, how did it all spiral so fast? Clearly, both had something to gain, but now it's all blown up in their faces. When a relationship is built on shaky ground, this kind of messy ending isn't surprising. From hotel lobby meetings, to flashing cash, to asking for a baby, then denying the baby out of insecurity, that's a lot of lines crossed. But no worries. Judge Lake is here to bring some serious order to this chaos.
At my place.
Within 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, because we
I
bought
moved
it.
in his place 2 days later and drove his car after I met him at the hotel. He had me drive his car.
These two clearly had a very spontaneous thing going on. Moving into his place 2 weeks after meeting him, driving his car after only 2 days. Yeah, that wasn't just chemistry, that was calculated. She knew exactly what she wanted the moment she laid eyes on him, and she wasted no time taking advantage of his kindness, bringing her friends, her things, her whole world into his space. Her look, still screaming guilty.
Indiana, I was there for like a week. And
Why'd you break up? I thought this was going well.
Because we broke up because she had multiple guys. I don't trust her. She's connived and I can't trust her. Excuse me.
It's completely normal to want to distance yourself from disloyalty, and that's probably why Mr. Kim backed off the moment he found out about Miss Currington's lifestyle. But here's the twist. She claimed she wasn't involved with anyone else while with Mr. Kim, yet she openly admitted to a one-night stand. Let's not sugarcoat it. One night is all it takes to make a baby.
Did you cut the umbilical cord?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
Between that time when she was pregnant, she was with this guy pretty much through the whole term.
And I'm still is.
Yeah,
Getting
she
married
still
too,
is.
September 1st.
At this point, it's safe to say Miss Currington definitely has a thing for older men. After leaving Mr. Kim, she didn't just move on, she moved up in age. And not only is she still dating this new, even older man, she actually plans to marry him. That's a lot to unpack. But finally, the DNA results are in, and hopefully, Mr. Kim gets the closure he deserves.
Mr. Kim Larson, you are the father. Dad.
Finally, the DNA results are in, and it's been a whole lot of emotions. Sure, becoming a new dad, like his daughter said, might be a moment of joy, but to be honest, is this really the woman Mr. Kim wants to share that journey with? On her end, it looks like the game plan worked, the trap was set, and it caught a big one. Well, this is their reality now, and they'll have to deal with it.
I don't know how to explain.
You're happy that she's your little girl, or you're just happy you know the truth? What are you feeling?
I know the truth.
What is it you feel when you look at her?
I want to hold her.
Emily, 2 years ago, the court helped you prove to your father, Mr. Harrison, that you were his biological daughter.
Yes, sure.
It's always fulfilling to see people move on after the storm, especially when they return to the courtroom, not as rivals, but as a team. That's exactly what we're seeing today. Miss Connolly and her father are back, united, stronger. And this time, they're here to prove a new case. Their mission? To show that Mr. Haskell is the father of Miss Connolly's 9-month-old daughter.
Who are you? What are you talking about? He's on some, you don't know me. I'm famous. I sing. I said, well, sing. He held a note. So I said, oh, okay, I can sing too. So I sung a song that I had wrote. And he was like, oh, okay, you can sing too.
This is starting to feel more like a back and forth comedy show than a courtroom case. Like seriously, both of you can sing and hold a note? What a sweet little talent that brought you together. In between all the harmony, each one's story is calling the other a liar. So, whose version is the truth? Because right now, every part of this case is soaked in contradiction.
I wanted to have sex before I go to work. I said, you're gonna be tired. You're gonna be tired. But she's like, I'm considered the manager. I don't have to really do too much work.
That's not true.
I gave myself to her,
That's
Your
not
Honor.
true.
These two, definitely not ready to tell the real truth. We've got a so-called famous musician still living with his mom, and a pizza parlor manager sneaking in a little romance before her shift. Okay, let's hit pause. Then suddenly, Mr. Famous gets a call. Your girlfriend is fighting at work. His reaction? Girlfriend? What girlfriend? Now that is comedy gold. You really can't make this stuff up.
Miss Connolly, how did you get keys to the house and you were laying in his bed when he came home?
Your Honor, we were in a committed relationship for 2 months under my assumption.
She bought my mother. She had to buy my mother. She must have bought her pizza every night.
You brought me to
when
your
she was
house.
hungry, she bought her pizza at home every night. That's how she got in the house.
Like Like seriously, how did she even get to his house without his consent? And for what reason? Sure, she admitted to living on assumptions, but grabbing his keys and just laying in his bed like it's hers? That's a big, bold no. And then, wait for it, she starts bribing his mom with pepperoni pizza every night. Now that was the total knockout. This is comedy mixed with chaos.
That she was gonna trap me. She knew she was pregnant.
You don't have no money.
So she indicated in her mind frame, okay, this is a perfect opportunity with a guy that can sing, popular in DC, one of the famous guys that's singing, you know, and I'm
Mr. Famous is definitely turning this courtroom into his own little comedy special, cracking jokes and brushing everything off like it's no big deal. But let's be real, having sex during her fertile window after she warned him to be careful, that could very well be what led to this pregnancy. No cheating allegations yet, and honestly, all signs are pointing straight at Mr. Famous.
One time, she was parked outside of my cousin's home, right?
Sit down, because
and I'm walking to the store.
I don't even know him.
Or she honked the horn. I go over there to see what she want, and she's flirting with me. So I brushed that off. I continue to walk.
I would never smash the horn.
She even slept with a close friend of ours, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
Oh, straight up, here come the cheating allegations, and of course, Mr. Famous has his cousin running defense like it's a family talent show. But Miss Connolly, she's not having it. She's standing her ground and trying to set the record straight. What's not cool? The idea that any of these men might be lying just to look good or dodge responsibility.
I would like for him to apologize.
You want the results or you want an apology?
I want an apology too.
What do you want him to apologize
I
for?
want the result, but I just want him to apologize for denying my baby and disrespecting me and my child.
Now that was unexpected from Miss Connolly. She wants an apology, just for him not stepping up and taking responsibility. Sounds fair, right? But Mr. Famous, he's not buying it. Says he was never in a position to be responsible in the first place. This back and forth is getting old real fast, but thankfully, the DNA results are just moments away.
Has been determined by this court. Mr. Haskell, you are her father.
The results are in, and it's time for Mr. Famous to drop the comedy act and face the music. The DNA test just handed him reality, loud and clear. He is the father. Now it's time to step up and be the dad this child deserves. And hopefully her mother makes peace with Miss Connolly too, because the drama doesn't stop at just the parents. Another wild case closed, thanks to DNA results and the no-nonsense Judge Lake.
That is that you're a father, and you all have to co-parent.
Can I hold her?
Oh, now that's a good question. Now, wasn't that nice?
Yeah.
Anyway, Ms. Rogers has been hooking up with Mr. Stone's friends? Yes, plural. If today's case isn't a walking, talking example of trouble in paradise, we don't know what is. These two go way back, like elementary school sweetheart level back, but even that long history hasn't spared them from some serious mess. They've been trying to make it work, but clearly, drama's been riding shotgun the whole way.
After some years of being apart, I was at my friend's house, or I was at her boyfriend's house, and we were chilling, and he walked through the door, and I'm like, really? Of all places? He had to walk into where I'm at. So we was talking, laughing, joking about old times, how you been, catching up and stuff. And we went back to my friend's house, her boyfriend, and we had sex that day.
Honestly, why are we even here? We're supposed to be settling who the baby daddy is, not sorting through a soap opera script. And in this case, where's the actual doubt? These two say they're getting it on basically every time they link up, so what's the confusion? Unless, ding ding ding, Ms. Rogers isn't telling the whole truth about being with just one guy.
She was at one of my friends' house, and when I walked in, she was already hugged up with one of my friends.
I was not hooked up with nobody. He walked in the door, I was sitting at the table.
On his lap.
I was not on nobody's lap. When he came in the door, I was sitting at the table. The friend that he was talking about was in the kitchen. I was not sitting on nobody's lap.
So this is where the logic falls apart. Mr. Stone seems to think condoms are some kind of magical force field that solves all life's problems. Hate to break it to you, Mr. Stone, but condoms aren't made of vibranium. They can and do break. That's literally day one of sex ed. So yes, even with protection, surprise babies can happen. Time to catch up on science, my guy.
Have unprotected sex
one time,
with
Your
Ms.
Honor.
Stone?
It was not one time.
And that was in the threesome.
It was not one time. It was
in the where?
And the threesome between me, her, and...
We had a threesome. The night I found out that he had a girlfriend, we had a threesome.
Wait, they had a what now? A threesome? With his girlfriend? And all of this happened the same night she found out he wasn't exactly single? That's wild. So clearly, Ms. Rogers wasn't trying to lock down anything serious with Mr. Stone to begin with. So if she really wasn't sitting on his friend's lap like she claimed, what other lie is there? Because agreeing to a threesome with your not-so-single man and his actual girlfriend...
And then when she told me she was pregnant, he want to say they did it around twice?
You're saying that isn't true?
It's not true.
At the time you were sleeping with Mr. Stone, were you sleeping with anyone else?
No.
Whoa, Whoa there, Ms. Rogers. This just got real awkward. So apparently, 4 guys sat down for a little who's been with who session, and your name showed up on every one of their lists, all 4, and no one else made the cut? Just you? That's oddly specific. No variety, no other entries, just a one-woman highlight reel? That's not a love triangle, that's a love conference. But sure, Ms. Rogers, nothing suspicious here at all.
But were there any benefit with the other friends?
Nah, there was no benefits with no other friends until after I stopped talking. He can hear whatever he wants to. All them boys was liars.
You told me yourself that you would have an encounter before we even had first encounter.
Well, all right then, Ms. Rogers. If you say there's no doubt, we'll all just sit here and pretend that makes sense. We'll keep taking your word for it, even though that word has been doing a whole lot of tap dancing lately. But hey, if you're that sure, then this baby better be Mr. Stone's. After all the drama, the accusations, the threesomes, and the friend lap denial saga, this DNA test owes us some closure.
I understand facts around this situation. How'd you find out you were pregnant?
I went to the doctor to get my birth control shot because I know I'm having sex, so I'm like, I need to go because I don't want to have no more kids.
Wait, what? This case is unraveling faster than we can keep up. So Ms. Rogers is 18, already has twins, just had another baby a few months ago, and she's out here talking like this is all business as usual? Hold up, that means she was what, 15, 16, when she was pregnant with the twins? How is she already deep in motherhood and treating it like a part-time hobby?
I did not know not one thing. We dropped them off and left. When we came back, she still haven't told me she was pregnant. I didn't know nothing then. And that was early, like I want to say 3-4 months in. I didn't know nothing.
Whew, what a mess. This day has been a marathon of finger pointing and zero accountability. There's a baby caught in the middle of it all, born to 2 18-year-olds who've spent the entire time talking in circles and contradicting each other. They haven't been on the same page once, not even by accident. So who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Or are they both just playing games? Let's finally get to the bottom of it.
Old Christian Roger. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Stone, you are not the father. You admit you've cheated in the past, but hope once the results are revealed, your husband will trust you again. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. White is hanging on to hope that a paternity test can save their relationship, specifically by proving that Mr. White is the father of their 3-year-old daughter, Savannah. But Mr. White isn't buying it. He's convinced she's been unfaithful and wants DNA tests for all 3 kids, with Savannah being priority number 1. And he's not bluffing. If even one more result comes back negative, he says he's out of this marriage for good.
It's all come about to where I had the suspicions it was she was having an ex-boyfriend come over while I was at work. I had neighbors tell me he was coming over.
Thing is, little Savannah already sees Mr. White as her dad. That bond is real, and if the DNA test flips the script, explaining to a 3-year-old that her daddy might actually be someone else, that's emotional whiplash. But the tough part is, Mr. White has been side-eyeing her paternity since day 1. The doubt's been eating at him from the moment she entered the world.
Have you been cheating?
Yes, but I have like abandonment issues because I was adopted. So like if he's not showing me the love and affection that I need, and I mean I'm not trying to like make excuses for myself because I admit what I've done is wrong.
Honestly, Mr. White's logic tracks. What makes it even messier is that he claims he's been dealing with his wife's infidelity since day 1 of their marriage. Like no peace, no breaks, just back-to-back betrayal. And Ms. White, she doesn't even try to deny it. She flat out admits she's been unfaithful, but insists she had her reasons. Whether those reasons hold water or not, well, that's another story entirely.
You are certain Savannah is your husband's biological child?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about when you got married. Take me back to that time.
I moved in with him after a month of being together, and then a couple, like probably 8 months later.
Mrs. White says she's not trying to make excuses, but come on. She's openly admitted to cheating more than once, yet she's somehow 100% certain that Savannah is Mr. White's daughter, which is kind of wild because if you've got multiple candidates in the mix, how can you be that confident? But hey, this is paternity court. Logic and emotions are always in a messy tug of war. Now back to Mr. White. How exactly did he find out his wife was cheating?
And how did you get to a place where you decide you're gonna tell him, Miss White?
We got into an argument and we ended up splitting up, and I was over at my mom's house, and he said the only way I come back into the house is if I was to admit everything and just be honest.
And he let you back home after that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Learning the truth hit Mr. White hard, but at least it confirmed what he'd been suspecting all along. From that moment on, he wasn't just stuck in his head wondering if his wife was being unfaithful, he knew for sure. And while Ms. White did eventually come clean, Mr. White says he didn't need just her word to connect the dots. He had plenty of other signs pointing to betrayal.
Ex-boyfriend texts back, LOL, you are crazy. I'll call you in a minute. Your wife says, LMAO, could you do that for me? Miss White, why are you so quiet? Why are you texting your ex-boyfriend these things?
Because he don't treat me right.
In one set of texts, Ms. White tells her ex she's lying naked in bed, waiting for him. And yes, it's the bed she shares with Mr. White. Her ex texts back, eager to call her immediately. If that's not awkward enough, there's another message where she hits up a totally different guy, not her ex by the way, saying she'd like to meet up. Now, you'd think being married with kids might be a good reason not to be sending those kinds of messages.
The entire phone. And I still have possession of the phone at my house. That has all the pictures, all the text messages, all the calls, everything.
One really has to wonder why Mr. White hasn't called it quits already. When asked, he says it's because they've got 3 kids together and baby number 4 is currently on the way. Okay, fair enough. But choosing to have a 4th child with someone you don't trust? That part's on him. And based on his own testimony, he's not even sure this unborn baby is his.
Or just so I can get the result of the kids in Savannah and just move on with our life and no more cheating, no more nothing, just us taking care of the kids.
She is definitely lying. At this point, it's basically tradition. But the real question is, why is she still in this relationship if everything's such a disaster? According to Mr. White, it's all about, but here's where it gets dark. Mr. White says he's tried to walk away more than once, but every time he does, Ms. White pulls out some seriously unsettling moves to keep him from leaving. That's just wild. Let's see the results.
Of White versus White. When it comes to 3-year-old Savannah White, it has been determined by this court. Mr. White, you are her father.